Hey guys, it's me, Seanie B. Of course, here to talk about episode 12 of season 4 called There's No Place Like Home. This episode was definitely meant to set the stage for a killer 2-hour season finale, which unfortunately is next week. But I did like the episode. I thought it set up a lot of new cool plot points and answered a lot of questions too. Before I get started, just going over the Fast Reflex Award. Here are the answers from last week. Remember I told you the first 10 to comment on where and when the images are. We'll get the Fast Reflex Award, so here are the first 10. Congrats, and I'm going to be doing the same thing this week, so let me know on this page where and what the images are, and you'll win that award. The title of this episode was called There's No Place Like Home. Part 1, as we know there's 2 other parts to this episode next week. Obviously it's a connection to The Wizard of Oz. As we know, there's a lot of connections in Lost to The Wizard of Oz. Oz is surrounded by a deadly desert that prevents anyone from leaving Oz, which is very similar to the island. In Flashes Before Your Eyes, remember Mrs. Hawking points out to Desmond a man in red shoes, and then the scaffolding falls on him, and on top of the rubble you can't see the man, all you can see is the red shoes, which is exactly like the witch in Wizard of Oz. Charlie would say every journey needs a coward, obviously referring to the Cowardly Lion. Juliet says, I want to go home all the time, just like Dorothy always said. And then if you remember, Ben said his name was Henry Gale, which in Wizard of Oz was the name of Dorothy's uncle. And there's a lot more too, just trying to get the fact across that the Wizard of Oz is mentioned in the show a lot. Episode 12 starts off in the air with 2 military guys. One's holding a rabbit's foot, a white rabbit's foot, for good luck. As we know, white rabbits have been in Lost a lot. It's even the name of an episode. Most of the characters are led into the jungle by their white rabbits, like Jack is led in by Christian in the episode that introduces the idea, and it all comes from Alice in Wonderland. The pilot says, in reference to the rabbit's foot, that he needs all the luck he can get, considering the cargo they're carrying, referring to them as bad luck. Karen, an Oceanic Airlines rep, goes into the back to let the cargo, which turns out to be the Oceanic 6, know that they'll be landing soon. Jack lets Karen know that it's okay that they'll talk to the press. When Karen leaves, Jack talks to the other 5 and says, "It's okay, we all know the story," referring to the one he tells in Eggtown at Kate's trial. The plane lands and the ramp is opened, but before it does, doesn't it look like scary eyes here? Hurley gets out. His mom and dad are there. Sun gets out. Her mom and dad are there. Notice how she only hugs her mom and doesn't even give her dad eye contact. Jack gets out and his girlfriend, or mom, is there, which I know some of you are thinking girlfriend at times too. Sayid joins in with Hurley's family, which makes it clear that Kate has no one. We go back in time to the island. Jack's group is arguing over whether or not to follow the chopper, and they make Dan use the phone, and we can hear Keamy yelling at his men to head to the Orchid. It's weird, Juliet claims she doesn't know what the Orchid is, but Dan sure knows. Jack walks off, insistent on following the chopper, thinking Sayid is with them. And Dan whispers to C.S. Lewis, saying the Orchid is secondary protocol, like we see Keamy looking at last episode, and he says, "We have to get off this island, right now." It's got me wondering how Dan even knows about secondary protocol, when C.S. Lewis obviously had no idea what it is. We know that it was locked in a safe. Captain Galt didn't even know it was there, let alone what it was about. And Keamy knew it was there, but had no idea what it said. We also see Dan's notebook again when he is talking to C.S. Lewis, and he fidgets through it to find the Orchid logo. The notebook has equations about moving towards a singularity, and it looks like some wormhole geometry as well. Even the logo of the Orchid looks like a wormhole. And what's up with that ant doodle? Jack and Kate are walking through the jungle when they find Miles prancing about, and he looks like Bambi's mother just before she caught the bullet. And Sawyer with Aaron following right after. Sawyer tells them that they lost Claire, and that she walked off into the jungle in the middle of the night. Jack tells them that they're following the GPS, hoping Sayid is there, and Sawyer lets them know that they better not hope Sayid is with those animals who blew up half of New Otherton, which is the nickname the producers gave the barracks a while ago. Jack is heading off alone, and Sawyer tells him that he doesn't get to die alone, so he follows him. Sawyer has gone from only caring about himself to only caring about other people, kind of being like Jack Back in the future, the O6 are at a press conference where Karen lets us know their supposed story on where they were, how they survived, and how they were rescued. She says they were on an island called Membata, which in Indonesian means uncertainty or doubt. I'm also surprised why none of the reporters asked them afterwards how on earth they crashed south of Indonesia if they were headed from Sydney to LA. According to their story, Kate gave birth to her son, Aaron, on the island. What Karen said next was very interesting. She said, on day 108, and pauses for a couple seconds. She says the Oceanic 6 traveled off the island. 108. Then we are shown a picture that supposedly the group of fishermen who found them took. I think this picture's staged. They're wearing new, different clothes from when they just left the island. And is that Sawyer's shirt Jack's wearing? Or maybe it's even Michael's. Then the press is open to asking questions. Jack was asked what it was like and how they survived the crash. He responds telling them that only 8 survived, like we heard in the trial. So that probably doesn't mean 2 others, but 3 others actually survived, since Aaron, according to their story, wasn't born yet. Unfortunately, we probably won't find out who these other 3 are, since the producers in the podcast a few weeks ago said they weren't important. Hurley was asked how he feels about getting his $150 million back, and he states that he doesn't want any of it back, and that it was all bad luck. Then Sun is asked if her husband, Jin, was one of the couple people who died on the island. And Sun pauses for a while, trying to think of what to say, and she finally says, no, he never made it off the plane. And why didn't the press ask who were the others who survived with them, unless they already know? It makes me wonder why the Oceanic 6 would even make up the fact that some others survived with them. It seems like it would make things more complicated. Kate is asked how old her son is, and she replies with 5 weeks. I don't know if it's just me, but he does not look like 5 weeks old. Now we know Aaron was born on November 1st, and if they were actually rescued at the beginning of January, like they're claiming here, that would make Aaron 9 weeks old and not 5 weeks, like Kate's saying. Then Mr. Slick basically says, so that would put you at about 6 months pregnant when you were on the plane, obviously knowing that this wasn't true when she left. So Karen moderates and moves on to the next question. It's also interesting to note that Emily, Locke's mom, was 6 months pregnant when she got into a crash and had to give birth. And Kate's claiming the same thing, that she was 6 months when she got into a crash.